Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great day. Hi, Asila. Hi, Hikmatillo. Hi, Police Crime. Hi, Michael Fan. Good to see many returning students in this class. Nice to see Rodrigo, our member, joining in right now as well. Students, this class is IELTS listening practice for some high bands. We will use a listening exam from our second exam book for today's lesson. These exams materials in this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS help. Check us out there. Join the premium package. For the general version, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of these great websites, we have loads of materials, including over 100 hours of video lessons, 6 original practice exams, and a fully interactive course for your phone, tablet, PC. Hi, Chabi. Good to see another member. This is our academic IELTS web portal here. Click that big red button to join there. I will use this today for the listening. And for the general version, it's the green background. Click that big red button to join us there. Hi, Mary Elimian. I didn't get your email. Maybe there's something going on there. I do get them, and Adrian at aehelp.com is correct. All right, students. So you can get our apps. Link your app to your web account. Search for Academic IELTS Help or General IELTS Help on your Google Play and Apple app stores. My email is adrian at aehelp.com. If anybody else has trouble sending me an email, let me know, but it should work. And again, tomorrow, some reading. We will do more listening tomorrow. We'll do section 1, section 2 today, section 3 and 4 tomorrow, and then we'll have more classes on Saturday. All right, students, so I'm going to hop over. This is our test number 6 from our exam book number 2. Just to get you in the mood for English, rolling along, warmed up, I'm going to play the listening section 1 audio. Please do not put your answers into the chat. Write your answers on a separate piece of paper or in a separate document. Give everybody a chance to answer questions on their own. So please do not put them in the chat. We will go through the answers together after listening section 1. Okay? So I'm just going to hop over to the academic version of our website here and log into my student account. In my student account, I get a tour, and then I have all my goodies, my computer-based practice exams, online course, lesson videos, and here are the audio CDs. Now, of course, because this is exam number 6, it'll be CD 6, track number 1. Students, my volume is max on my side, on my computer, and on the speaker that I'm using. So if it's a little bit quiet for you, just make sure to turn up your volume and use a headset if possible. Okay, so use a headset if you have one. Okay, everyone, here we go with test 6, listening section 1.
This recording is copyrighted by 2Think1 Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings, and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Listening Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman concerning the requirements of running for municipal office. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town councillor, I'd imagine.
The man says he would like to run for town councillor, so this has been indicated for you. Now we begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town councillor, I'd imagine.
Great. I need some information from you in order to get you on the ballot this September. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready.
This should only take a few minutes. Okay then, let's start with your surname, Walter.
Colchester. Colchester.
And Walter is spelt in the regular fashion?
Yes, Walter.
Okay, next I need your date of birth.
I was born the 11th of December, 1979.
The 11th of December 1979 makes you 36 years old at the time of the September elections. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. I'll need your national insurance number.
My national insurance number is WC 285-698-33.
WC 285-698-33.
That's right.
Great. And the last pieces of information I need from you are your current address and phone number.
I live at 23 Shaftesbury Lane, Plymouth. And you can reach me on 01752 667 835.
Wonderful. Next, I'll give you some information on running for municipal office.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
First of all, you should know that you're one of 15 candidates so far that have registered for the 4 town councillor positions. Since the deadline for registration is in a week, I do not anticipate this number increasing by more than a candidate or 2. Second, please know that there are 3 all-candidate debates, of which you must attend 2 in order to qualify for office.
I have to participate in debates.
Yes, that's right. They are on the 14th and 28th of August, and the final one is held on the 4th of September. They'll be held at the local community hall on Ashford Street. Each one begins at 6 o'clock in the evening.
That sounds fine. Is there anything else I need to know?
Yes, there is. Do you plan on spending money on your campaign? This could be on adverts in newspapers, promotional signage, or other advertising.
Well, I was planning on taking an ad out in the local paper, yes.
Not a problem, but please keep in mind that there is a strict £2,000 limit on campaign spending for town councillors. All expenses must be reported to this office. Overspending will result in disqualification.
I don't think that should be a problem.
Oh, and one more thing, Mr. Colchester. There is a £50 registration fee for each candidate for town councillor. You may pay this fee over the phone by credit card, with a cheque in the post, or in person with cash, credit, or debit. How would you like to pay?
I live right by the office, so I'll drop by this afternoon to pay in person.
My assistant will take care of that for you. I think that is all I need from my end. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome, and good luck.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students, and in that half minute, always check your answers. I'm just going to stop the audio here. Make sure you didn't miss any information. If you did, see if you can fill in those spaces. Be sure to pay attention to instructions. All right. So, students, you see at the beginning of this listening, while the instructions were going on, I was doing something. What was I doing? Okay. What was I doing? So, what did I do during the instruction time? And you can only do this kind of a trick on the paper-based exam, okay? Yeah, so Latifa says I was scanning the questions. Actually, to be more specific, I was scanning the topic of each section. So during the instruction time, I scanned for the topic of each section to prepare my mind for this information. So I wasn't just going crazy. There is no hard rule that this isn't allowed. However, if the examiner or proctor asks you to stop and turn to page 1, make sure to listen. Okay? But if they don't, then check for those topics. It works about half of the time. There is no hard rule. So there's no rule like you cannot turn to the other sections. All right, so let's see how many you've paid attention during that time. What was the topic for section 2? What was the topic for section 3? And what was the topic for section 4? Let's see how many of you paid attention to these details, okay? Ferdov says, they stopped me the last time I tried to do that. Yeah, Ferdov, sometimes they do, but hey, you have nothing to lose. They're not going to kick you out for that, okay? So what was... So Sue 4121 says something about books. Okay, for section 2, remember it said something about salary and employees. So section 2 seemed like a company meeting of some kind or company information. Sue, section 3 was something about a book on art. And Amira, you're absolutely correct. Section 4 was something about roads. okay? And if you have good reading skills, you can actually do this very quickly. So even if they stop you for Dobbs, even if they say, hey, don't do that, turn back to section 1, sure, okay, nobody said I can't turn the pages. It just said look at section 1, okay? It didn't say don't look at section 2 or 3. Then you can still catch the title, okay? So section 4 was about roads. Now, if the instructions change in the exam and they say don't turn the page until you're instructed to do so, then yeah, don't turn the pages. But if they don't say that, don't worry about it, right? Check it out. Could help you catch a couple of marks. Okay, and I came back because section 1 is kind of easier. So I returned to review questions 1 to 5 during the example time. Okay. You always get that one example in section 1. So that's when you want to go back and check that. Okay. The questions for section 1 to 5 in section 1. Okay. Here we go, students. So let's answer these together. Here you have a form that needs to be filled out. It's a person running for town councillor. This just says town councillor application form, so it's fine that it's not visible. It just says town councillor form. We know it's a town councillor. That's given. Okay. Now, there are 5 spaces on the form. For number 1, we had to write down this applicant's name. His first name is Walter. They spell that even. And what was the family name or the surname? Yeah, Colchester. So Angel Janet, Dicey Sub, Charlie Sen. They're all saying Colchester. Okay, Colchester. Let's go one question at a time, students. So Colchester. Okay. Spelling has to be correct, especially because they spell it. The C has to be uppercase C. It's okay to write it all uppercase. So that's fine for the reading and the listening section. But remember, students, this is slower. It's slower to write all uppercase. So I would recommend writing lowercase and then changing it during the time you have to transfer answers. In the task 1, task 2 essay, you cannot write all uppercase. Okay, task 1, task 2 essay would be really bad idea to write uppercase anyway. So you shouldn't write uppercase for the writing section. Okay, here it's okay. All right, what's the address? So notice how the information doesn't come in order on this form. They actually gave the information for date of birth before the address, then they repeated. What was the address? Yeah, 23, and you just use the number 23. Okay, good. For those of you who got that, fantastic. The city is Plymouth, so he says 23 Shaftesbury Lane, Plymouth, absolutely. Just the number is fine. What's the date of birth? Number 3. When was when was this person born? Okay. So when the information is quite straightforward, in rare occasions for this type of a form, because this is one question section, you're not going to have a perfect sequencing, so careful with that. Okay. So 11th December 1979. Yeah. And the easiest way to write this, 11 December 1979. Okay, that should be your answer. The order doesn't matter, so you can write it like 1979, December 11. I definitely suggest or recommend writing the month as an abbreviation, not as a number, not as the full word. Okay, so write months as abbreviations. Okay, this is a tip. So learn and write months in the listening section as abbreviations. Okay, for example, December. Right? That's the clearest way to give that answer. So that's what I recommend for that. All right? Okay. So here we go. What is the phone number for this person? What's the phone number? Again, it's a dictation. You have to catch these numbers. So Dipendra said that the phone number for this person, Dipendra Chalice, says it's 01752667835. Yeah, and the applicant doesn't actually say my phone number is. They say you can reach me at. Okay, so here you had to say catch the you can reach me at. And then he gives his phone number, right? So you can reach me at means that it's the phone number that's coming. Another way you might hear it is you can call me at. Okay, so careful for that phrase. If you hear that, it means the phone number is coming. So it's 01752 and the spacing doesn't matter. Like, even though phone numbers have dashes and spaces, you just need the number. You don't have to worry about the spaces, okay? 667 835. All right, so if you got that number, you got it right. It looks like Dipendra was correct. Rushang Raj was correct as well, I believe. Okay. All right. Now, for the next question, the national insurance number. So everybody who lives in the UK will have a national insurance number. That's the number that identifies who you are. You use that number for taxes and for a lot of other important types of information. In Canada, that's called your social insurance number. In the UK, that's called your national insurance number. In the US, it has another name. In Australia, it has another name. But in every country, you have these numbers. It's basically your personal identification number. Okay? So for number 5, you're saying it's WC28569833. That seems like the common answer, and that is correct. So it's WC285. 285. And again, the spacing doesn't matter. 69833. Usually the spacing's like that with the WC spaced before. So that's answers number 1 to 5. Let's look at the second set. So here you had a little bit of a break, and you should stay focused the whole time, all the way through. Maximize your time. It's really important to learn to maximize using the time in the listening, okay? So that's my next tip for you. You should never be staring blankly at the wall or the paper. Learn to maximize every second in the listening section, okay? So learn to maximize using every second in the listening section to help you score better. Okay? Oftentimes I see students in the last few seconds just staring at the wall or staring at their paper blindly or tapping their feet. That shouldn't be happening. Okay? All right. Here we go. This is a little table completion here. For tables, pay really, really careful attention to the information that's given. Okay, so this is the second debate. It's going to be on Ashford Street. When is the second debate? What's the time of the second debate? Sue, 41210 says 28 August. And I love, Sue, how you used just the abbreviation like that. That's all you need. You don't need to put th, okay? You don't need to say 28th. It's okay just to have the number 28 August. Don't write these superscripts because these superscripts take time, and if you get it wrong, if you write 28 RD, then they'll mark that wrong, okay? So don't write any unnecessary information if possible. So 28th August is correct, okay? And what's the time? So Angel Janet says it's 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. is correct. 6 o'clock, you have to be careful because they say 6 o'clock in the evening, not the morning, obviously. But you have to be precise. 6 p.m. is the best answer because it's 6 in the evening. Or you can, alternatively, you can write 18 o'clock. Okay, that's okay as well. Or if you want to keep it super simple, you can write it like this. All right, that's probably your easiest answer. A bonus question, how many debates will there be? Let's see how many of you really paid attention to the audio. And I recommend doing this as kind of an interesting and useful exercise to see if you can recall information above and beyond what you see in the question sheet. So this is a practice tip for home. And you can do this in groups. So test your listening knowledge above and beyond the information that is required on the question sheet. Okay, it's a really good way to improve your active listening. All right, so this will help improve your active listening skills and get you a better result. Okay, keep that in mind. All right. Let's hop back here. Yes, that's correct, students. 3. So I can see a lot of you are saying it's 3. There are 3 debates. Yeah, absolutely. There were 3 debates total. The first 2 were in August, and I think the third one was in September. So here we're looking for the second debate. That's why that was the 28th. There was one debate before in August, and there was another one after in September, and they were all at 6 p.m. Okay, so it was 3 debates. The woman, the administrator, says there are 3 debates total. Okay, number 8. What is the campaign spending limit? So what's the maximum amount that the applicant can spend to promote themselves? All right, a lot of you are saying 2,000 pounds. Students, be really careful on the IELTS with provided information. You see the sign right there? They gave you the word pounds. So technically, if you write 2,000 pounds, you get this wrong because you have 2 pounds, okay? And that's just strange. All you need here, so don't make life more complicated than it should be. If you do not see the symbol for pounds or the word pounds, like here. Okay, if the question has the word pounds, again, you don't need this. So if you see pounds in the question, or if you see the symbol for pounds, you only need the number. If you do not see these, then you should write pounds. Then you should write 2,000 pounds. And it comes before like a giant letter L with a strike through. Okay. All right, so 2,000, just 2,000. Number 9, registration fee. How much? A lot of you are kind of jumping ahead there. Ascila's like, whoop, yeah, no, it's number 9. Yeah, the registration fee is £50. Okay, again, just the word, or sorry, just the number 50 is enough. So 2050. Again, remember, section 1, it's supposed to be easier, so don't overthink it. Now, notice something interesting here. All right. So notice something interesting. You have 3 choices. Okay, you have to write 3 different letters here to get this correct. You have to get all 3 of them correct. Okay, you have to get all 3 of them correct. If you do not, then you will get the question wrong. Now, notice that I did something quite interesting with this question. First of all, I spent more time reviewing this question. Okay, anytime you have these kinds of multiple choice questions, you want to spend more time reviewing. Okay? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is instead of searching for the answers in the question, what you want to do is you want to take notes. Okay? So on your answer sheet, I'll show you this in just a moment. When you hear an answer like the speaker says, well, you can pay the registration fee by check through post, then write down the words check and post. Okay? So that's one way that you can do this, is just write down the notes. Okay? When you hear the word cash in person, write down cash person. Okay? That's all you need to do. All right? So what I'm saying here is on the actual question sheet, you can go cash person. Okay? Check mail. Okay? Or phone credit. All right? That's what you should write down by notes. Does that make sense? Because it's much faster than trying to search through these, possibly. Okay? So it's a good trick, and you can practice that at home. Okay? So the correct answers here were B, check by post. I can see a lot of you are correct with B. It was the first one that was given, check by post. And then the answers were C, credit in person. Of course, you can pay credit card in person if you can pay credit card over the phone, usually. Okay? And credit over the phone. Okay? Now, notice the other point here is that you can answer these by deduction as well. So this one is not possible. It's impossible to give a check on the phone. This one you should never do. You should never send money, cash, through the post. That's just, not a good idea. And direct debit, we didn't hear that. Okay, so don't mark something that you don't hear. All right? So use deduction, take notes to help you with these kinds of questions. Does that make sense? Okay, so does that tip make sense? And you can write this really fast. Instead of writing cash, you might just use a $sign or any kind of money sign. Okay? Check by mail, you can even do a little box like that. Okay? So that's a good trick. Okay, so write down notes, also use logic to help you. If you don't get the 3 correct answers while you're listening, don't panic for these questions. Wait for that 10-minute time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet and take a second look to try to solve this. Okay, so these kinds of multiple choice questions, you can actually... There's a good chance to get them correct when you use logic during the 10-minute time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Okay? All right, students. So that's it for section 1. What was your score? What did you get out of 10? So from the 10 questions, how many did you get correct? Did you get 5 correct? Half of them? 7? 8? 9? Did you get them all correct? 10 out of 10? What did you get? Okay, Boomy says, I got 8. Beck Tamur says 8. Dicey SPB says 8. Sue, 9. Nice. Okay. So my tip to you students, and this is really important. Okay, so this is a strategy. Keep focusing on listening section 1 in your studies until you get at least 8 from 10 correct. This is the easiest section, so you must get a minimum 8. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to get a score of 6.5 or higher. Okay? So this is a really important message. If you're getting like 5 correct or 6 correct in section 1, then just keep focusing on section 1, maybe some section 2. Don't even worry about section 3 and section 4 until you can get at least 8 out of 10 on section 1. Okay? There's no reason to focus on much more difficult audio until you get that many. Okay? Luck will not work on the IELTS exam, no more than winning the lottery. All right, students, let's do this. So let's go and answer the questions for section 2. Now, don't freak out. Section 2 is going to be a fairly, difficult compared to section 1. In my experience, there's quite a big jump between the level of listening needed for section 1 versus section 2. Okay? Section 2, section 3, there's not that big of a difference. Section 3, section 4, there's another kind of jump in the difficulty. Okay? All right, get your pencils and papers ready. Again, students, do not write your answers in the chat. Please write it on a separate piece of paper in a separate document. We will go through the answers together nice and quick after. Make sure you give all of your fellow viewers, peers, a chance to think and answer for themselves, okay? So here we go with section 3. Again, the volume is maximum on my side, so make sure that you have your volume turned up, and I suggest using a headset if you have one. Okay? All right, here we go. So we're going to just hop back to the website here and into the next audio. 3, 2, 1.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a recording of 3 people discussing strategy for an upcoming meeting with investors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thank you both for coming in for this preparatory meeting. As you know, we have an extremely important meeting with our investors next week. While I'm more than confident in the work we have done over the past year, we must be prepared to justify our progress to our investors. After all, they are the ones who pay our salaries. First, I want to review the positive outcomes we've achieved over the past year. This will make up the bulk of our presentation. Amy, would you like to give us a rundown on this front?
Sure. We've achieved many positive outcomes over the past year, and furthermore, we've achieved more in the past 4 months than in the previous 8 months. So we're certainly showing significant progress. First, and most important, sales of our app are up 50% from last year, totaling 586,000 units in the past 12 months, up from 390,000 units in the previous year. This is great progress. Second, we're achieving a higher purchase rate. While our sales are up 50%, the number of total downloads has remained relatively constant. This means our conversion rate has increased 50% as well. This clearly demonstrates that our efforts in this area have been fruitful. By targeting the conversion rate instead of the raw download rate, we have raised our standing and search result priority within the application stores. This will eventually lead to a higher download rate and even more sales. The upward trajectory here is very clear. We have also decreased the complaint rate from 2.5% to 1.5%. While our goal is to get this rate as close to zero as possible, this decrease represents a positive outcome and shows that our efforts to increase customer satisfaction have been successful.
Yes, but if I may interrupt, I actually have to disagree on one point. I don't believe it should be a goal to get the complaints rate down to zero. While we certainly don't want a high complaint rate, the resources spent on getting the complaint rate down are better spent on increasing downloads and increasing the conversion rate. I think this is an important point to be made to the investors. While we certainly value the quality of our product, we are much more focused on maximising the value of the investor's investment. I think such a tack will go over well with the investors.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
That's a great point. We really want to emphasize that we are doing everything we can to optimize and maximize the money and resources we've been supplied with. Speaking of which, are we all agreed that we will be asking for 20% increase in operating budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. And how are you going to justify such an increase?
Well, certainly by pointing to the statistical outcomes you previously referenced, but also by our need to expand. We need to increase our catalogue of apps, and to do this, we will need to hire at least 2 additional developers. In addition to this, I think we are now at the point in our business where hiring a market analyst would be justified. Such a person could be charged with finding niches to exploit within the market. Right now, our operations in this regard are rudimentary at best, and an expert in the field could help increase our sales volume significantly. Such an expert's salary might take up 5% of our operating budget, but could lead to a 10% increase in sales or more. The 5% difference would result in a net income increase of almost £100,000.
I agree. Hiring a market analyst is long overdue. One more justification for a budget increase is an across-the-board pay rise, if only at the rate of inflation. 2%, say. This would go a long way to increasing worker morale and output quality. In addition to this,
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
And again, students, make sure to check your answers during that time. Let's go through these answers together. Now, section 2 in the listening is often a dialogue between 2 or more people, okay? So make sure that you prepare for this. So this is a tip, okay? For the listening section, practice listening to multiple speakers. Join group discussions. Okay, it's really important. Here we had one person with a New Zealand accent, one of the men, and the other man and the woman had a British accent, but different styles of British accent. So you really have to be careful, okay? Let's do this together. So write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. Number 11, who pays the salaries of the workers? Okay. So who pays for these people who are having this meeting? The investors, that's right. Beck Tamur, make sure that you have the correct spelling. Harry Lou, it's fantastic. Investors, doesn't have to be capital, it's not a name. It can be all lowercase. Investors. Investors. Okay? Investors. Absolutely. Good. All right. Here, we had a table completion again. A much bigger table this time with some numbers. And they were talking about their performance comparing this year to last year. Okay? So they said some numbers here, and if you're not sure which one, just write down the numbers that you hear. You should have written down 2 numbers and then realize that one of them is correct. What was the correct number for question 12? Okay. Ashisha, you can write lowercase when it's not a name. Okay. So for number 12, what was their current year sales? How many units did they sell? Harry Lou says 593. Alex says 586. Alex, you're close. You're just missing the 3 zeros. It's 586,000. Okay? They sold 586,000 units. So there should have been 2 numbers that you wrote down. I believe the other one was 370 or 383,000. That would be 390. No. 283,000 or 383 or something like that. Anyway, it was 50% less than this one, or 390,000. Anyway, you should have written down 2 numbers and then realized, oh, wait a second, this is the bigger number. It's up 50%. So that's the correct answer. Okay. All right. Downloads, they don't give how much is current year. Last year it was constant. And then the conversion rate. By the way, students, especially for those who are working with software and computers, this was a really good listening for you, because if you have a meeting in English about the performance of applications or websites or online marketing, this would be a very typical kind of conversation. Number 13, yes, you're right, it's 50. You have the symbol for percent, so you do not need to write it. Okay, you don't need to write that. Okay. All right, the complaint rate was 1.5% this year, and it's down, so it's decreased. How much did it decrease? For question number 14, how much did it decrease? Angel, Mekwish, remember, IELTS is not just a test of English. It's also testing your thinking. Hikmatillo is correct. It's 1. Okay? Because it's down from 2.5%. So 2.5 minus 1.5 equals 1, right? I'm just doing the math in reverse here, but it's 2.5% minus 1.5% equals 1. So be really careful with these. You're thinking, that's going to be really tricky. But during your time to review your answers, if you wrote 2.5 here and you're looking through your answers and you go, wait a second, 1.5% is down from 2.5%. No, that doesn't make sense. It's got to be down 1% because that's the difference, right? So careful, careful. Some questions in the listening section need a little bit of extra thinking and math, okay? So be prepared. If it looks too simple, it might just be that you need to do a little bit of math, all right? Okay, let's take a look at these multiple choice answers. What points do the investors disagree on? You have to listen and catch this. So the man interrupted. The man said, "Oh, I disagree. I don't think we should worry so much about the," and then he gave the answer. Okay. Adil, Rashid says, "Am I giving a math exam?" Yes, Adil. In some sense, you are giving not a math exam, but an English communication logic exam, especially for the academic students. Okay. All right. C is the correct answer. Yeah. So they disagree that it's not about getting the complaint rate down. What is most important? So this is the next question. So it's not about getting the complaint rates low. They're not worried about the complaint rates being too low. What are they worried about? So what should they focus on? Yeah, that makes sense. Think logically. If you're a businessman and you run your own business, or a businesswoman, you have to make sure that your investors are happy. Otherwise, you will have some serious problems. Logic is your friend, so maximizing the value. So in space 15 on your answer sheet, put C. In space 16, put A, and you're good to go. All right. Let's check out the summary completion questions. Here we go. 17 to 20. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. The employees are requesting a 20% something in funding from the investors. This should be pretty easy. It's intuitive. Of course, employees and companies always request this from investors. What do they request? An increase in funding. This will allow the company to hire 2 additional what? So obviously these are some kind of positions. And there's 2 of them, so it has to be plural, right? Who will they hire with this money? This will help hire 2 additional people. Who are those people? Yeah, they're developers. Anisha, no apostrophe, okay? You're not showing belonging here. It's just plural noun, developers. Careful, students, okay? It's just ERS, developers. If you say developer, you'll get it wrong, okay? If you put an apostrophe here, you'll get that wrong. So it's just the S, developers, okay? All right. Who will allow the company to broaden their catalog of apps? So yeah, it makes sense. Developers create apps, software. They would also like to hire something. So one more position. Angel Janet says a marketer. Close. It's not a marketer. It's a little bit trickier. Aisana Berg, good to see you in class, Aisana. Aisana says a market analyst. That's right. It's a market analyst. Okay. 2 words. They need to be spelled correctly. It's a little bit more challenging answer. It's for those higher band scores. Who would be in charge of finding new areas for development? Finally, the team wants a pay raise pegged to the. So, of course, everybody likes to make more money. And the team here says, hey, guys, we've been doing a good job. As we just discussed, everything is on the up and up. We need a pay raise. If nothing more, then our raise should be at least as much as what? At least as much as the inflation rate. That's right, for Dobbs. Not necessarily 2% here, because that's just a suggestion. The woman says like 2%, but it's not concrete. They say the rate of, because it's not the rate of 2%. Okay, rate of 2% doesn't make sense. It's the rate of inflation. All right, students, count up your marks for section 1, section 2. Hopefully you got at least 15, 16 correct for section 1, section 2. Tomorrow we will do section 3 and section 4. Okay. Now, for all of our exams and listening, just join our premium packages at aehelp.com. It'll be worth your time and money. You will certainly do better on your next exam as long as you go through all the materials in the website, as have many students over the past years that we have helped to pass. Hikmatillo, 17 out of 20. That's a solid score. You want to get at least 15 out of 20 on these two sections, okay? Sections 3 and 4 are going to be more challenging, so a better chance that you will lose more marks. So you want to get at least 15 out of section 1 and 2 correct. All right, students, again, our website's aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. This is the general version, looks like this. Hit that red button to join our premium package, aehelp.com. I'm actually in my student account here. You want to join the premium package by clicking that big red button there. It's been a fantastic day teaching and learning with you. I hope all of you have a great rest of the day as well. And I will see you tomorrow for listening sections 3 and 4, as well as members for some reading practice and strategy. Much love to all of you from the heart of Europe. Bye for now.